In the previous class, we have understood about heat temperature in detail by looking into several activities. Now in this class, let us try to understand the relationship between temperature and kinetic energy. So we know what temperature is, and you must also be knowing about kinetic energy. If you don't know, let me explain. Kinetic energy is the energy possessed by the body by virtue of its motion. Virtue in the sense quality. For example, if you touch a bus which is at rest, nothing happens, right? So if the bus is coming towards you with some speed, say 60 kilometers per hour or 80 kilometers per hour, can you dare touch it? No, because you know you're going to get hurt. Because it will have some energy, momentum or whatever you say, it will have some energy that it can hurt you. So how is it gaining that energy? Earlier the same bus, and now it is the same bus. But now it has an additional quality called as motion, movement. So because of its motion, it is gaining some energy called as kinetic energy. A slow traveling stone hits you and a fast moving stone hits you, which hurts you more. Definitely a faster stone, right? So because of this quality, by virtue of its motion, body gains some energy called as kinetic energy. See, flowing water, moving wind, they do some work. See, fast moving wind can lift heavy loads, can lift off the roofs of some houses, right? So the same air or wind we see, because of this virtue or the quality called as motion, it is doing some work. So if it is doing some work, it must have energy. And what sort of energy is that? Kinetic energy. This kinetic energy is related to velocity of the motion. If velocity of a body increases, definitely it will have high kinetic energy. If velocity decreases, it will have lower kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is related to velocity of the body. That is, if a body is in motion, definitely it possesses energy called as kinetic energy. Then what does our temperature have to do with kinetic energy? Let us try to understand with a small activity. Consider two containers, container 1 and container 2. Fill the first container with cold water. Fill the second container with hot water. Now add food color or potassium permanganate, whatever. Add food color or potassium permanganate to both the containers containing hot water and cold water. And if you see the food color or the potassium permanganate distributes faster in hot water than in cold water. This activity clearly, see the jiggling movement. It will be the jiggling movement of potassium permanganate or the food color will be faster. The jiggling of food color or potassium permanganate will be faster in hot water. This itself makes it clear that the molecules in hot water, the water molecules in hot water or the water molecules with higher temperature are moving faster. This activity also makes us understand that as the velocity of water molecules is higher in hot water, definitely the kinetic energy of the water molecules also must be higher, because as we discussed, velocity increases, kinetic energy increases. So velocity of water molecules of water with higher temperature is greater than the velocity of water molecules which is at lower temperature. So definitely as the temperature increases, molecule speed also increasing. As the molecule speed increases, definitely the kinetic energy must increase. Yes, sir. So the internal energy, that is kinetic energy, maybe linear kinetic energy or vibrational kinetic energy or whatever rotational kinetic energy. As the temperature increases, the kinetic energy also increases. If temperature decreases, the kinetic energy also decreases. So you can establish a relationship between temperature and kinetic energy with this equation. The average kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature, that is absolute temperature. What is absolute temperature? The temperature which is measured in Kelvin scale is called as absolute temperature. So the average kinetic energy of a body is directly proportional to absolute temperature. If the temperature increases, kinetic energy increases. If the temperature decreases, kinetic energy decreases. So we can discuss this topic in detail, in depth, but this is enough for the students of class 10th. And if they ask you in examination, what is the relationship between the kinetic energy and temperature, you can explain it with the help of this activity and this equation. So understood? So the body with higher temperature possesses higher internal energy, that is a higher kinetic energy. Now that we know about the temperature, heat, we have also looked into the definitions, and I also told you the units used to measure heat for calories and joules. The units or the scales in which the temperature is measured is degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, and degree Kelvin. Now let us try to understand about these units. First, let us look into units of heat. So here there are many other units also, but mainly we use these two units called as calorie and joule. So let us try to understand what is calorie. So we know that due to temperature difference, when there is a thermal contact between two bodies, heat exchange. Heat transfers from high temperature body to low temperature body. How much heat is transferred? For example, if your mother asks you to go to grocery shop and ask you to get sugar, will you directly go and get the sugar, or will you ask how much sugar do I have to get? You will ask, right? Then your mother says get half kg or 1 kg sugar. This half kg or 1 kg is the mass, unit of mass. In the same way, when we are always talking that heat is transferred from one body to another body, this much amount of heat is transferred or that much amount of heat is transferred must be specified. Now, in order to specify that, we use these units called as calorie or joule. Calorie is the CCS unit of heat energy and joule is the SI unit of heat energy. Now let us try to understand calorie first. So always we will try to understand an unknown thing with a known thing. So we are well familiar with water, and water is useful to us in many ways, and water is useful in order to determine the calorie also, or in order to define calorie also. How? So consider 1 gram of water. Consider 1 gram of water. Say the initial temperature of this 1 gram of water, T1 is the initial temperature, 27 degree Celsius. Now I have to raise its temperature. Yes, I rose its temperature to 28 degrees Celsius. How can I raise it? How a temperature be raised? How can it be raised? Definitely by giving some heat energy, right? I gave some heat energy. How much heat energy did I give? We don't know. Let us try to understand. I gave some heat energy to this 1 gram of water, and its temperature rose from 27 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius. So what will be the change in temperature? What will be the change in temperature? Definitely 1 degree Celsius. Then the amount of heat you are given is 1 calorie. Can you define? 1 calorie is the amount of heat used to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. If you have to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, how much amount of heat energy is essential? 1 calorie heat is essential. So you can clearly define calorie the amount of heat. This definition is very important, and we use the same format of definition later in defining specific heat also, but here let us try to understand calorie. The amount of heat used to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. How much quantity of heat can be called as 1 calorie? The amount of heat which can raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So, in order to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 2 degrees Celsius, you require 2 calories. By 3 degrees Celsius, you require 3 calories. The amount of heat used or required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degrees Celsius. Then what is joule? See, 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule. Or 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. In APRJC or Polytechnic, they will ask you the relationship between calorie and joule. And sometimes the answers may be confusing. So sometimes instead of giving 4.18, he may also give 4.2 joules, which is approximately equal to 4.18. In the higher classes, or when it is in terms of the energy we gain by eating food, there the calorie is different, which you use capital letter, capital C. Capital C means this 1 kilocalorie. This calorie is what we define now, the amount of heat used to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. But usual temperatures, usual energy unit, calorie, capital C, is 1 kilocalorie. So this is also not necessary now. So this is enough if you remember regarding units of heat. The definition of calorie is important. There is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. And how calorie and joule are related? 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joules. So we look into the problems in a special video, the numericals of heat. I do it later. After 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, you need 1 calorie of heat energy, right? Does the coconut oil also take same amount of heat to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius? No. Coconut oil rises its temperature quicker than that of water. So if you give less than 1 calorie, that will be sufficient to raise the temperature of oil by 1 degree Celsius. Even sand. So on a sunny day, sand heats up quickly than water. Have you observed? So for the same amount of heat, the rise in temperature of different bodies will not be same. This point we have discussed earlier also. That is because the nature of all the materials is not same. Different materials are made up of different matter forms, or different materials are made in different ways, and their behavior is different in terms of rising temperature. So each substance has its own way of raising its temperature, and in order to understand that, you have to understand a special term called as specific heat. What is specific heat? We will understand the definition of specific heat, the units of specific heat, after completion of this activity. This activity will give us the idea of specific heat. Now, take a beaker and fill the beaker with water and boil the water till it attains its boiling point with the help of a burner. That is, you have to boil the water up to 100 degree Celsius. Now take 2 test tubes, fill one test tube with 50 grams of water and fill the other test tube also with 50 grams of oil butt. Now take thermometers, 2 thermometers, and arrange these 2 thermometers in both the test tubes such that a tip of the thermometer will be in contact with the liquids, that is water and oil. Now put the beaker separately on a stand and arrange both the test tubes containing water and oil in the boiling water, or the water which is at 100 degrees Celsius. Now observe the thermometer readings after a few minutes, say for example 5 minutes. You will notice that water is at 20 degrees Celsius, but you see the temperature of oil is 40 degrees Celsius. That is, oil rose its temperature quicker than water. And after few more minutes, that is say after 10 minutes, if you observe the temperature of water, it will be 60 degrees Celsius, and if you observe the temperature of oil, it will be 90 degrees Celsius. So that here also it is clear that oil is raising its temperature quicker. And finally, you see after 15 minutes, both the oil and water will attain or will be in thermal equilibrium with the water in the beaker. That is, both the temperatures will be 100 degrees Celsius, because ultimately they must attain thermal equilibrium, right? But this activity clearly gives us the idea that both oil and water are not rising their temperatures in the same way. There is difference, right? So that difference is due to a difference in their nature. So this will be defined that by a term called a specific heat. What is the relationship between a heat and specific heat? Let us try to understand now. So now we are going to perform couple of activities, one or two activities, in order to derive equations for heat energy, the quantity of heat and specific heat. So, case 1. Say for example, take two containers, container 1, container 2, identical containers. Just try to understand the concept. Here you have considered water, 1 liter or 1 kg of water, or with the same. In both the containers we have water, 1 kg, 1 kg water. So you have water in this container, and you also have water in this container, and you have 1 kg water in this container, and the same 1 kg water in this container. So mass is constant. So what did you consider here? Water of same masses, 1 kg, 1 kg. When mass is constant, okay, mass is constant. So let the initial temperature of water in this container be 27 degrees Celsius. Now let the initial temperature of water in this container be also 27 degrees. They are at same initial temperatures, same mass, same initial temperatures. Now this 1 kg of water I have to heat it to, say for example, to 47 degrees Celsius. I have to raise the temperature of container 1 from 27 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius. Container 1. This is container 2. Now I have to raise the temperature of container 2, same 1 kg water, from 27 degrees Celsius to, say for example, 67 degrees Celsius. So in these two jars or two containers, to which container you have to heat for more time. Heating for longer period indicates that you are giving more heat energy. Are you getting? The first container, you have to raise the temperature of first container from 27 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius, and you have to raise the temperature in container 2 from water of temperature container 2 from 27 degrees Celsius to 67 degrees Celsius. So what is the change in temperature in this case? What will be the change in temperature? What will be the change in temperature? Definitely it is 40 degrees Celsius. You have to bring the change of 40 degrees Celsius. Here you have to bring the change of just 20 degrees Celsius. So in which case you have to provide more heat energy. Definitely you have to provide more heat energy to container 2. Yesterday take 2 containers. If you have to bring less temperature change, if you heat it for less period, it will be enough. If you have to bring more change in temperature, you have to heat it for longer period. That means you are going to give more temperature. So here it is very much clear that the amount of heat essential is directly proportional to change in temperature. If you want less change of temperature, you need to give less amount of heat energy. For the same mass, if you want to bring more change in temperature, definitely you have to give more energy supply. So from this activity, what did you understand? Yes, definitely we could understand that the quantity of heat is directly proportional to change in temperature. Now remember this, and the same activity, in case 2, change in temperature is constant. Now container 1, container 2. In the container 1, you consider 1 kg water. In container 2, you consider 2 kg water. So both have same initial temperature, 27 degrees Celsius. This also 27 degrees Celsius. And I have to raise this 1 kg water from 27 degrees Celsius, temperature of this 1 kg water from 27 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius. And the same, I have to raise the temperature of this 2 kg water also from 27 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius. What is the change in temperature in both the cases? 20 degrees Celsius, right? So here also change in temperature 20 degrees Celsius. Here also change in temperature 20 degrees Celsius. But what is different in both the jars? Change in temperature is same, but mass is different. Here you have considered 1 kg water. Here you have considered 2 kg water. But the change in temperature you have to get is same. You have to raise the temperature of 1 kg water by 20 degrees Celsius, and you also raise the temperature of 2 kg water also by 20 degrees Celsius. So here, to which jar you have to give more temperature, more heat, sorry. So definitely, if mass is more, it takes more heat to raise its temperature. So when change in temperature is constant, heat, the quantity of heat is directly proportional to mass. If more mass, you have to give more heat to change its temperature. If mass is less, it is enough if you give less heat to change its temperature. Let's take out the diagrams and rewrite. In case 1, the mass is constant. Then what did we get? The amount of heat is directly proportional to change in temperature. In case 2, if change in temperature is constant, then quantity of heat is directly proportional to mass. Now from both the relations 1 and 2, what do we get? Quantity of heat is directly proportional to mass and change in temperatures product. So you may take different masses and different temperatures. The product is important. If the product of mass and delta T is greater, then the amount of heat required is higher. If the product is less, the amount of heat required is also less. Then we have to equate it, some constant based on the nature of the material. So that proportionality constant, which changes only when the material changes and which never change until and unless the material changes, which depends on the nature of the material, is the specific heat of the material. So Q is equal to that specific heat S into M delta T. So usually that equation is written as Q is equal to MS delta T. This is the formula to find the quantity of heat that we provide to a particular material. If a particular material has raised its temperature from this point to that point, it depends on its mass and its specific heat. Now let us try to understand what is specific heat. I hope you got this right. When mass is constant, heat energy is directly proportional. The quantity of heat is directly proportional to change in temperature. If change in temperature is constant, heat energy is directly proportional to mass of the substance or material. And if you combine both the relations, you are going to get the quantity of heat is directly proportional. Finally, we get the quantity of heat is a product of mass, specific heat, and change in Q is equal to MS delta T. Now, I just want S in terms of heat, mass, delta T. So observe carefully, both the equations are same. Q is equal to MS delta T. What will be S then? Q by M into delta T. So now you can define our specific heat. Specific heat is the amount of heat. This is quantity of heat. Q is quantity of heat, right? Specific heat is quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of any substance. Initially 1 calorie is only for water. Specific heat is 1 gram of any substance through 1 degree Celsius. Specific heat is the amount of heat required to raise. Specific heat is equal to Q by M delta T. So specific heat will be equal to Q when M is equal to 1 and delta T will be also equal to 1. Yes or no? So 1 into 1 is 1, Q by 1 is Q, right? So specific heat will be equal to quantity of heat when mass is unit and change in temperature is also unit. So that is specific heat is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of mass is unit, right? 1 gram of any substance through 1 degree Celsius. So if you have to raise the temperature of 1 gram of any substance through 1 degree Celsius, you need a particular amount of heat. That particular amount of heat which is used to raise the temperature of 1 gram of any substance through 1 degree Celsius is called as specific heat. And you know what will be the units of specific heat? Look here. Units of heat, calorie we discussed earlier. So unit of mass, calorie per gram per change in temperature, degree Celsius. Or it can also be kilocalorie per kilogram per degree Celsius. Or if you have to consider the SI units, it will be joule per kg per Kelvin. So these will be units in Q, calorie, mass, gram, change in temperature, temperature change is measured in Celsius scale. So if SI units, you have to use Kelvin scale, absolute temperature. So the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of any substance to 1 degree Celsius. It is a simple question, right? What will be the specific heat of water? In order to raise 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, how much energy is needed? 1 calorie. Earlier we have looked into the definition of calorie, right? So what will be the specific heat of water now? The heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water is 1 calorie through 1 degree Celsius. Okay, is 1 calorie. So specific heat of water.
So specific heat of water will be 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius.
Specific heats of different substances. I will provide you the table.
This table shows the values of specific heats for various substances, and if you clearly observe the table, lead is a substance with least specific heat and water is a substance with highest specific heat. From this we can clearly understand that it is very easy to heat up lead, and whereas water takes more time to raise its temperature. So that is why we use water as a heat sink. Because of its high specific heat, it requires more amount of heat energy to raise its temperature.
Did you understand the relationship between heat and specific heat? Okay, so heat Q is equal to ms delta T, or specific heat S is equal to Q by m delta T. You know the units of heat: calorie, kilocalorie or joule. For specific heat, calorie per gram per degree centigrade or Celsius. So that's it about heat and specific heat. Thank you.